Welcome to Fulgur channel, your source for understanding the world's most pressing events. Today, we delve into the rising tensions in the South China Sea, where the United States, Japan, and Australia have sent warships in response to growing concerns over China's activities in the region. Why is this deployment happening now, and what could it mean for global stability? The South China Sea is one of the world's most strategic waterways. Covering approximately 3.5 million square kilometers, it is not just rich in natural resources like oil and gas, but also serves as a vital trade route through which over $3 trillion worth of goods pass annually. For decades, China has laid sweeping claims over the region, using the so-called Nine-Dash Line as the basis for its territorial ambitions. This has led to disputes with neighboring countries, including Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei. The United States, Japan, and Australia announced the deployment of warships to the South China Sea. This move comes amid heightened concerns over China's aggressive maneuvers, including confrontations with foreign vessels and the potential enforcement of an Air Defense Identification Zone, ADZ. Japan's troops will participate in joint training with United States Marines and Australian forces in Northern Australia next year, the defense ministers from the three countries have said, as they expressed concerns over the growing threat from the Chinese military. A joint statement released on Sunday reiterated serious concern about destabilizing actions in the East and South China Seas, including dangerous conduct by the Chinese military against the Philippines and other vessels from the region. Australia's Defence Minister Richard Marles hosted his US and Japanese counterparts, Lloyd Austin and General Nakatani, for talks in Darwin City. They announced trilateral amphibious training between Australia, Japan, and the US Marine Rotational Force in Northern Australia from 2025, beginning with a multinational training activity called Exercise Talisman Sabre. Australian Defence Minister Marles said the move to deploy troops for Darwin training was a fantastic opportunity for our defense. When asked if the agreement would anger Beijing, Marles said the decision was about building the best relationships possible with like-minded countries, with our friends, and with our allies. Canberra will also join Exercise Orient Shield in Japan, a field training exercise between Japanese and US forces for the first time next year. About 2,000 US Marines have already been hosted in Darwin, the capital of the Northern Australian Territory, for 6 months of the year due to rising concerns among the US and its allies over China's growing military power in the Indo-Pacific region. Peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. The deployment of troops to Darwin also shares a special significance, as it was the base for Allied forces in World War II and was heavily bombed by Japanese forces. Sunday's trilateral meeting in Darwin was the 14th of its kind between the three allies. The ministers also stressed the importance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. China claims self-ruled Taiwan as its own territory and has stepped up military activity with frequent drills around the island. Separately, U.S. Defense Secretary Austin has said that Washington would provide the capabilities set out in the AUKUS deal for Australia to buy U.S. nuclear submarines and develop a new class of nuclear-powered submarines with the U.S. and the U.K. Australia, the US, and the UK signed the AUKUS deal in 2021, including a joint effort to help the Australian military acquire nuclear-powered submarines in an apparent attempt to counter China. Austin added that the US Department of Defense was focused on a smooth and effective transition to President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration. I'm really proud of the things that this current administration has accomplished over the last 4 years in terms of what we've done in this region to strengthen alliances and to work with countries that share the vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific, Austin said. China has published new details of its claims to a contested shoal in the South China Sea in the latest clash over maritime territory with the Philippines. Officials from the Chinese Foreign Ministry shared new coordinates for what it considers to be the country's baseline, a term used in defining a country's territorial waters that normally matches its coastline. Beijing set its baseline around the Scarborough Shoal, however, claiming that the contested atoll should be the starting point for considering much of the entire South China Sea as Chinese territorial waters or its exclusive economic zone. A statement by the Chinese Foreign Ministry said delimiting the Scarborough Shoal was a natural step by the Chinese government to lawfully strengthen marine management and is consistent with international law and common practices. The move from Beijing came a day after the Philippines signed two laws defining the country's maritime zones and right to resources, including in the South China Sea, with codifying claims that overlap significantly with China's. The coalition's warships are conducting joint exercises, emphasizing freedom of navigation and demonstrating solidarity against unilateral territorial claims. According to military analysts, this deployment is a direct response to China's growing assertiveness and serves as a signal that the region's waterways should remain open and free. China has responded with sharp rhetoric, accusing the U.S. and its allies of provocation and meddling in regional affairs. Meanwhile, ASEAN nations are watching closely as the situation could escalate into a broader conflict or lead to increased militarization of the region. As the situation unfolds, several questions remain. Will this deployment lead to further military buildups? Can diplomatic efforts prevent a full-blown conflict? And how will the global community respond to China's continued push for dominance in the South China Sea? The South China Sea is more than just a regional dispute. It's a critical arena where the future of global order is being tested. The coming weeks and months will be pivotal in shaping the trajectory of this complex geopolitical challenge. Thank you for watching Fulgur channel. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses of global events. What do you think about the situation in the South China Sea? Share your thoughts in the comments below.